Hey everyone. I actually want to share that in this coming together still, in this however long I'm just like a process in comparison to an outcome. So I'm a process that leads to, I get involved in processes that lead to what I feel is the best outcome because I'm involved in the process, which means my soul can take into account a variety of things that Teresa this lifetime is aware of and works with my soul that is vast in like knowledge and understanding, not claiming anything of particularity, just whatever can come online, we are unfolding as humans, understanding our capabilities of soul. So anyway, on process, Matthias is outcome soul. And every soul has their comparatives, and there is, a various list that the human can relate to being, like, like archetypal patterns as well. You can relate to seeing, oh yeah, my soul does inhabit and live out these kind of patterns. And over time we realize some is like who we truly are, and some we shed the shadow we go through and we find balance, etc. Well, same with the comparatives of part of the soul's blueprint, that you'll find yourself along the comparative scale of, am I more learning more about my process in life, process more often in certain areas, I get more joy out of it, I enjoy learning like the efficiency, you get right into living the process has an importance. So you might be more of a percentage on the scale and say 20% on the outcome. So for some souls that's very fulfilling, and that's what I have found when I learnt about it, looked back. Yep. And when I focus on the outcome more, which has had to, I can't be in groups of people where we are just focused on a particular outcome, because I'll always have more to say as a process soul that can make the outcome even better than what we thought it could be, like other process souls could do as well. So we'll bring something of our own soul's uniqueness to that outcome. And so Matthias is an outcome soul. So, in relationship with a process soul, he hasn't wanted to, and because of my soul's consciousness experience evolution, I can't work with someone who is just focused on getting something and just throws a few frequencies in the mind space with me to get that thing that he wants, to tell himself that's all that's needed, that will lead to this outcome. And like moment by moment by moment, his process is, I'll just give her a frequency of this song. I'll just do as minimal as possible to Teresa, but I'll be out, showing the world. I'll be out as face value, explaining something, doing something, whatever. And it's like, what in the hell do you think you're going to get from me? You know, so a reunion, obviously, between man and woman, between souls, whatever, everything has to be taken into account. And so he wouldn't like that at each layer of life, he's had to take into account what I know and what he can't see of me has to be listened to in relationship process. You can't just put forth like a teenager, I'm going to play this song, you've seen me on screen, and now I'd like that thing delivered. Yeah, so we've all heard this from me before, but this is where it's at right now in this time period. And this time period of eclipses. So focus on energy that is not needed on the planet, descent of, and clearing of that, an emphasis of the light. And so by now, you know, we're aware of what needs clearing. It can still come up, obviously, but like the bulk of what's leaving would have come up by now in August. Stepping over from July. And it's all for us to be more of who we really are. So, for example, if he's got to be more of who he is, then he's got to eclipse fighting the fact he has to be part of a relationship. You know, not because I say it, because obviously it's taking its path that it's a set up reunion meeting of souls. So you're also getting to know the person, Teresa, that represents this soul that she is. So you need to listen to Teresa, and it's not just about your little freaking outcomes along the way where you do bare minimum. You're not getting any kind of powerful activity along the way or some kind of reunion based on minimal. You actually have to realize it is the application of yourself. You know, so what one would do is, if you're an outcome soul, you'd be like, well, I am good at overseeing things coming together, but I am working with Teresa. So the overseer isn't the only one that's putting the process together. The overseer, like the outcome-oriented person, I want to make sure this kind of outcome happens, also has to get involved with that person's soul qualities in process. In her process. She's not just going to hush her life standards, who she is, what she's asking for. He needs to be involved in that. Otherwise, there is no... You won't be pleased. You're not going to have your own outcome. Teresa is not living to your standard of what you think takes place because you've decided that's how you'll get to the outcome. That's like in any team. So it's really team ethics, team spirit. Everyone brings something to the table. No man, no boss is overseeing a relationship coming together. But perhaps, you know, it's very humbling for someone who thinks, well, who are you to tell me anything? Because I am this in the world. Well, that's just too bad. You still have to work with Teresa. And you're not listening. So anyway, that's how this is eventually, like, however, it's not up to me or him, essentially. Like, we can at any time, if he had the maturity level, unite, right? But it's his learning and humbling of this and the planetary alignments and the world spinning with the solar eclipse and powerful light assist with this. So that's that. And just a couple of other layers of importance to that is the flow that led me to kind of updating this importance was that, so it is, as we know, we're going through a time where it's more about be who you are, really. So I think we already know this, that what is trying to be held up by some people, if it's empty, like doesn't contain the values of human connection. It doesn't contain the values of human connection, and it's still trying to be held up with empty value of that, then that's not helping all become like knowing themselves, who they really are. So the light is assisting us with that in this corridor. And that's happening now. Kind of like, again, in the tumble dryer, where you get out all the old, don't need, you dry the clothes, fresh and new. So the 3D that we've known is not so important. And when I say that we've known, I mean, don't cling to, in your consciousness, that the 3D is important. Because the more that we concentrate on, I don't want to use the concentration word because it's more mind emphasis. The more that we redirect to, it doesn't matter what the outside looks like, the inside is what counts. So, that's just like lifting the lid on a jar that's been closed forever. But as I was saying that statement, redirect from solely the embodiment of us in 3D, focused on 3D. Redirect that the outside isn't so important. Now, I think a lot of us that have grown up in humble conditions understand the meaning of that because we've learnt it. We've lived in humble conditions where you can see the opposite or the extreme, which is what's been shown at the moment. And then there are plenty on the planet that have lived opposite conditions or somewhere in between. You learn different values. So that's essentially what is being shown in this rebalancing. That you become more of yourself when you as a person can face all different kinds of experiences, and you will catch yourself, you'll feel into, am I like reacting, responding, or living, even just having a conversation or even just looking at something? Am I just living from looking at what's in front of me, at the 3D? Am I just living from this, and if that changes, then that changes me? Like, you know, I respond to the 3D kind of thing. So if you practice looking beyond it, then you're in alignment with the energy that's happening at the moment. So it's just to lightly be aware of it, as in, you know, in any changes of consciousness, you just start to just gently think about something, but you practice it, like, you know, because it's an important time of this particular light on the planet, been building to it, in the corridor of that, becoming more of a way of life. That values are important. And we're not talking about what we've been doing, which is empty the pot of nourishment and goodness where people gather around and love themselves, therefore emanate the same kind of love, like appreciation toward another. You know, we've emptied that kind of pot, but there has been enough of us come to the planet that know the value in that. So no matter what the 3D looks like, you can still appreciate what's behind it. So, you know, there's all different layers to a spiritual awareness when you start to do that, because it can mean that you can look at any person on the planet as a soul, so you don't, like bodily or over time or vocally respond to just what you're seeing. Like, you know, a CEO of a company or a homeless person, right? They both have value as souls. So, you know, when it comes down to it, obviously there's probably a little different interaction, that's obvious at times, but there could be times where that CEO is just talking to that homeless person. I would like to think at any time something like that could happen, because, oh my God, is that breaking down barriers? Because it's like, it doesn't take much for anyone just to have a conversation with each other. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, who you are, etc. So, you know, I'm not strongly aiming at anything in particular. It's just nice to see when there is shifts like that, that we're there for each other as a humanity. That's, you know, that's the huge thing. Why really unspoken by a lot of us, why we're all here. We want to see that kind of world. And so then the kind of values you would have is not trying to just fit a position and a monetary role. It's more how you are growing from internal values, connection in that kind of world. So we've emptied the pot of the values and connection and put the value on how we look, what we got, and it even changes us down to like viscerally felt physicality levels. And we're just like autopilot in that kind of world. So this shift in focus is extremely important. But you adopt it lightheartedly, and it's not difficult to adopt that light, because it is our spirituality, that we're not meant to have cheap ass divisions and borders. We're meant to sort of rise in the heart space, connected awareness as to what can we do for each other. Like the leaders at the moment, you know, someone in such position like Trump, he would be able to, if he was thinking like that, truly make some changes. You know, like Obama. You can see the complete opposites, can't you? Complete. The more Trump has the seat. And it's not often, you know, you would see much focused attention of, say, for example, Obama in the Oval Office, sitting there wanting publicity about something he has to say, like a Trump. You'd find Obama walking amongst the people or talking or standing up at least. You know, just for a slight example of get up, get amongst it, get real, we're all real, where Trump is like trying to act as though he has a throne all for himself and everyone should look at his shiny table in front of him because he's like the biggest clown. Because when it comes to values, he's empty. Oh, he can entertain. So, I think that was all. Yeah, to be rich is connection. I was going to say to be connected, but you know, I didn't want the old if you're connected kind of talk. It is connection. It is when we have the inclination, like, wouldn't it be nice to drop off a hot meal to a homeless person or something? Then why don't you do it? Just lightheartedly cook up a bit of a feast and just say, hey, how you going, you know? Here you go, if you'd like this. It's just, I'm just giving an example of if you can do something nice to be connected as a human being while you're here, then that's a great service. And don't doubt it, seriously. Don't doubt that any shift in your awareness to, like, don't doubt this part, right? We haven't changed in this ourselves because everyone's not doing it. There are some like volunteer souls that just dedicate their lives to it. And so they are an example whenever we see it happening. But just don't doubt that if you want to do something, that's your sign of your spirit and your soul in a very good motion for standing up for that in our field. Because someone might see it, doesn't matter. You will make an impact to someone's life and to the field of our life, which, you know, like I said, we haven't all been doing it because we don't think it makes a difference. So that would just be a good meditation point to sit with the next time you're in any kind of letting go from the chest of any, like, you know, meditation is just like let go, relax the shoulders, even if you're just sitting like I do, you know, by a window and you're just at peace. Just allow the thought that any little thing you do that gives someone like a benefit of a doubt, like you'd like to do something good, but us humans have doubt that creeps in, that just swipes away us acting on the goodness of our being, because we tell ourselves things like, it won't make a difference. I'm just one little person. Like, oh, they won't miss it, blah, blah, blah. No. If you can do it, it's better that someone's experienced it than you just saying, they wouldn't miss it, doesn't matter. I don't matter. Oh, they'll get by, blah, blah, blah. No, make a difference in our field. Like, just think of one person and just think no one watching actually can affect thousands of lives in the vicinity. They don't know it. You can't see it, but it's energy. Because we are heaven on earth. And if you are instigated in a microsecond of any kind of magic you could bring into this field through you, please do. And I can see now, as I mentioned that, and I think of one of my favorite speakers, teachers, spirit, soul leaders, educators on this planet, Carolyn Myss, that the biggest impact she felt in this kind of way, that, you know, from the talk of we don't really make a difference, it doesn't matter, you know, if I give that person $1 or not, it just doesn't really matter. Well, it does. It matters. It's in our field. It matters. What you do does matter. We are not just matter. It is heart. What we do with heart is our matter, becomes our life field that we live in. But Caroline received letters to do with writing one of her books, where she was flooded with people when she requested, you know, how they'd been helped before where they didn't think they were going to be helped. So like a homeless person ended up being offered a job from someone who had some businesses, or to do with a church actually. She ended up running something at the church that he was connected to. Anyway, so it's just these encounters in life where people actually act on something where they don't think it matters. But then this is examples of so many people that were telling Caroline when they didn't think it was going to happen and something happened. It makes you feel like with goosebumps that there is more than physicality. There is more happening in our field when we do stuff with our physicality. Like how that all comes together, how there can be doubt in our field, but it just takes a little bit of something and it changes people's lives. So every little bit does matter, does count. And so that's about us being more of ourselves. You know, so bringing this conversation all together. That if we're like perhaps too busy with outcomes, perhaps if we're too busy just looking at what's in front of us, if we think more about, you know, just lightheartedly, that sometimes the best outcomes happen when I act in the moment of an idea and don't let doubt get in the way of it, because it's in my feeling space that the human being comes alive. Now, it might not be glamorously seen, but that's what we're talking about. if you come alive more, then that's connection with yourself, connection with values of and for humanity. And that's truly who we are. That's our energy field space. And we pick up on these streams of light, force, energy. So the more that we've got this in the field, the more the children growing up are going to grow up into a value field of that. And they are coming through, new souls are coming through, suited to how best they can assist the energy on planet Earth. So the more that we are doing here and now to make this a different energy field via our focus and application of ourselves, then the souls in the design of the choices and the choosing of like the environments and the parents, etc. It's all an energy field they enter into. They're entering into a field of more light. And so if we have more high vibrational light focus on this planet, then the souls coming through are going to be empowered, ready for that, and like more light. So all plays a part. So let's just leave it with that. Human connection is utmost important. So if we can put any heavy, dense energies aside when we go to connect with anyone at all, if we can start to do that, then our energy rises. We get helped more, better field, enjoyable processes, even amazing outcomes we didn't think, because this is heaven on earth. You're helped by heaven. So yeah, human connection is of the utmost heavenly value, like white light. Fill your cup with that white light. God bless everyone. Enjoy your cuppers, your mornings and your days and your nights. Great chatting with you. Bye for now.